Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's DeCorsia. In today's video, I am going to be talking about Soul Ties Part 2. So if you're interested, stay tuned. I have already posted Soul Ties Part 1, which I'll link above so you guys can check that out. I recommend watching that one before you watch this one, but it will be okay if you don't. Soul Ties. Very deep. It is a very deep spiritual topic that goes over a lot of people's heads, and not a lot of people take this topic seriously, but it has been something serious for me for quite some time. I posted that video back in January and it hasn't even been a year yet, and the effects of me breaking the two soul ties in my life, luckily there were only two, but the effects of me doing that for the two ungodly soul ties have just been remarkable. I have seen such a drastic difference as far as my visions, dreams, confidence, spirituality, clarity, Zen. Everything has been on another level. I'm on a new level, like insert song here, because that is exactly how it's been. And to think that I was dreading that process back then, only for it to be so great right now, is amazing and crazy and everything. But a part of the process that I wasn't aware needed to be in the process is something I did after I made the video, and that was forgiveness. Forgiveness is another thing we skip over, and I think a lot of times we feel like we do it just by letting things go, but that's not really forgiving. That's forgetting for some people. So for me, I spoke to my grandma about my process because she's like my prayer warrior, and a lot of things I talk to her about, before I do it, during, after, whatever the case may be. And she just talked to me about forgiveness and how important that was, and how sometimes, us asking God for forgiveness is the first step, but sometimes you need to take the next step, which is we set ourselves free when we ask God for forgiveness, right? But when we let those people know that we forgive them, we release them as well. And I think that was a very important step that I left out. But my grandma brought that to light, and I made sure I did that. And, for some people, it's not necessary to call. You can just ask for forgiveness. That's where your relationship with God comes in, so you can discern what you should do. But in these particular soul ties, I knew that I needed to let them know that I forgave them. One of them, my intention was to call both people and share that I forgive them over the phone. Only one person answered. And mind you, before that, everyone's blocked. So me calling is like a shocker because they're blocked. They can't call me. I was not blocked, so I could call them. But so the first person answered, and it was received very well. I was getting sorries and all of that, and I just said, hey, I'm not calling to get an apology or to even have an understanding. I'm solely calling to let you know that I forgive you, and because I wanted it to be brief. I didn't want any of the extra stuff because, quite frankly, it's unnecessary. For the second person, I called as well. The person didn't answer. But the person did message me like, oh, you called? I missed your call. I'm like, you sure did, sir. You sure missed my call. But that's okay. And I was just like, I didn't want anything but to let you know I forgive you. Not that you asked, but I wanted to let you know that I forgive you. And then that was it. That seems so simple so short and sweet, but for some people, it could be a really tough thing to do. For me, I was a bit anxious just because I wasn't sure how it would go talking to these people that I haven't talked to in almost a year. So it was different for me to go from having these people blocked to me reaching out just to say I forgive them. Like, I don't know if they would take it as a joke or, you know, how it would be received, but it really didn't matter. It wasn't about them at all. It was all about me. And that happened. So among my forgiveness process, I also did some fasting to help me with it because I really wasn't sure, you know, if those conversations would lead to catching up or like what it could lead to. But I knew what the options were. Like, I knew the possibilities of these people potentially like taking advantage of them hearing my voice and me actually calling after me having these people blocked, and, you know, what they would do. But the fast really helped, and it went fine. But since then, I made that video back in January, and I probably did the forgiveness aspect in April. Like, that is around the time I talked to my grandma and she like told me about that part. So I feel like it was signed, sealed in January, but it was delivered in April. And now we are in fall, and it still hasn't been a year just yet. And so many wonderful, miraculous, beautiful, glorious things have happened to me. I can't begin to explain. Like, that is how many things. 2020 has been a very unpredictable, awful year for a lot of people. But for me, this is probably one of the best years of my life. Yes, like, it's just amazing. And, you know, I had some moments where, you know, I mourned those relationships. I mourned those people because for me, it is a death. You know, like, it's a death. I didn't cry as in mourning, but as in mourning the memories and mourning the friendship, the relationship, the potential, the what ifs, like mourning all of that, feeling sad, feeling happy, being reassured. And when I say reassured, my reassurance came from the messages that I've kept. I'm a Pisces queen, so receipts are like, I have those forever. Like, I keep receipts. I'm a very factual, blunt person, so anything, I'm not gonna make up anything I say. I can prove it, okay? Like, that's how I am. So I'm just that way as a person, but when it comes to these soul ties and as far as relationships, I made sure that I kept the messages just to remind me not to go back. As a reminder of what I no longer will tolerate, because I think as women, honestly, in general, we tend to minimize situations when we miss people or when we just think of the happy times. We minimize what really happened. We forget how we felt, you know, especially if it's been a while since you talked to someone and you talk to them or you see them and now you're all giddy again. You want to start hanging out again, and you kind of like disregard what has happened and what has made you grow distant from that person. So I wanted to keep the messages. I wanted to keep the disrespect. I wanted to keep the inconsistency. I wanted to keep all of that as reassurance and confirmation that I did the right thing, that what I am doing and what I intended to do had a purpose. And it wasn't just me doing this to prove a point or, you know, make something up, an experiment. No, this is something I did because of who they are, the ungodliness, and the receipts just proved all of that. So I needed to keep that For any moments I missed that person and I wanted to go back and look at messages. Okay, sis, you want to go back down memory lane? Make sure you remember everything. Don't just remember the good stuff. And when I had those morning moments, I made sure, look at what he said. Look at what he did. Like, don't forget, like my mind was reminding me of those things. And so I don't know if that would be a good thing for someone else to do. I don't want you guys to get angry all over again, because I definitely didn't get angry all over again. I just became, like I said, reassured and at peace with the process. Because in that video, I even said, like, they'll come back a better person. They'll come in town, want to hang out. Literally everything I said has happened, and it has been tempting. It has been very tempting, but I'm very busy. I'm very focused, and all of the beautiful, wonderful things that are happening for me right now didn't happen when I was entertaining them, when I was in situationships, relationships, sexually involved. Those things didn't happen. They're happening now during the time that I chose to cut them off. That's not a coincidence. That is proof that they were ungodly. It's proof that they were mere distractions, and that now I am on a new level, and it would be foolish for me and detrimental to entertain those people again, because we're human. No matter how strong and disciplined I am, we still have that in us, thanks to Eve. We still have it in us to get tempted and distracted and go back. And as strong as I am, I know that's always a possibility. And I don't want to get too comfortable and, go back to something I really wanted to get out of. And I'm here and now and so blessed. I am at, I really just can't explain the beauty this process has brung. Like, the fact that I made that video in January and I did my fast for forgiveness and answers and actually forgave those people in April. A week later, I was accepted into pharmacy school. And that is like a miracle in itself. But outside of that, so many other things have happened. On top of that, huge, big deal. Like, if that was all that 2020 gave me, honestly, I would have been fine, but it wasn't. I have been receiving blessings that I didn't even ask for. Pharmacy, that was my dream. That is something that I prayed for. I wanted, that was a desire of my heart, and God gave me that because he saw how faithful I was. But that was, my asking stopped there because I really didn't know if that would happen. So I didn't ask beyond that. But now that I'm here, I can ask away because he's already answered that prayer. You know what I mean? Other things have happened after pharmacy school, like within 6 months, not even a year. Things that I didn't even think to dream of. I wasn't even dreaming that big. I wasn't even thinking this far ahead. And he's literally laid everything out for me, endless possibilities, giving me what I need and some, and more. And without those people. And it really is just proof, I definitely made the right decision. Is it sad sometimes? Yes, because I know, I can't be friends with him. There's no room for that. And I mentioned that in the first video. It's very risky to do that to yourself because like I said, we're human. There is a possibility you will retract and go back. And it can be tempting. But it's now been 2 years of my celibacy, which has been another huge part of this process. So the celibacy, on top of breaking soul ties, on top of fasting, on top of forgiving, on top of faithfulness, unstoppable. I just feel like I'm floating. I feel above it all. And I would recommend this process to anyone. Obviously, there are some people who have multiple soul ties with however many people. Don't be discouraged by that. It will be harder. It will definitely be harder for you, but it's doable. Anything with God is doable. So maybe just take it one step at a time. I wanted to kill two birds with one stone, literally, and I did. But I knew it would be harder doing that. It would be trickier. But I really just wanted to get it over with all at once, not to really rush it, but just so I can mourn together. You know, I didn't want to be mourning these people at different times. No, I wanted to just have the funeral one day and that be it. like that's real. That's how I wanted it to be, and that's how it was. And yes, I am so happy with this process. My friend, my best friend, Taylor, has been holding me accountable, and I hold her accountable, and we both are just so shocked at the blessings and abundance that has come from this process. And we sit and we think like, dude, this is really happening. Like, you really did it. Like, you're really doing stuff that we dreamed of and hoped for like years ago, you know, and we were entertaining these people years ago, and this stuff didn't happen, and it's happening now, and it's so exciting. And to know that God is already giving me things I have not asked for. He for sure is going to give me the husband of my dreams, because if we ask, he will answer. And you know, everything comes with patience, and that has been my word of the year, being patient. But even in the midst of that, like I said, these things have been happening quick because time has not been a factor to me. It's been more so me having quality in the things that I do, especially this soul tie process. So you guys just stay strong. If you need to be celibate, do that for your clarity. It really will open your eyes to a lot of things and clear your mind. Whew, this is a heavy topic. Oh my gosh, this is like, it's so heavy, but I know it's so relatable, especially with our generation. There's so much to relate to. There's such depth in this, but it is definitely needed for our generation and our future. I hope someone is touched by this video, and maybe this inspires someone to finally cut the soul tie that you know you need to cut, but you're just putting it off because you want this person around. But you know the longer they're around, the more damage will be done. So just be brave. Call on God. He will be there for you. Reach out to me if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer. But in the meantime, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.